Okay, we're on our way to Noble Falls, which is near Tudje. And we're going to a place near Swan Valley. Swan Valley is a wine region here in Western Australia. We have a very famous wine region down south called Margaret River. So a lot of exports from Western Australia, Margaret River region, go worldwide. And the Swan Valley is a smaller wine region. It's March the 22nd, 2020. Current temperature is 29 degrees, 11:50 in the morning. And as we currently ride, we've got no lockdowns. We've got social distancing, obviously with the COVID-19 issue we're currently having. But in Western Australia, we do have obviously social distancing, but still able to venture out and about. For how long that is, who knows? Where is he going? Insane. Complaining that he had to turn left there, where there's a big sign there saying left lane only is Reed Highway. That sign has been up there for months. So we're travelling easterly as well, so away from the coastline and more inland, and we're not going to be in the hills as such, I don't believe, but just before them. The hills is a whole ridge line of an elevation, a whole like elevated ridge, and it's known as the hills. People live that way, lots of trees, and a lot quieter, so people live there for the peace and tranquility, I suppose. Hank Marvin, the chap from The Shadows, Cliff Richard, he retired, I think he's lived in Perth and in the hills for a significant amount of time. I believe he's still there, so I think he's retired there as such, and I think he is actually quite a recluse. I've never seen him. Then again, Perth has a population of around about 2.5 million people, I think. About 2 million people. Quite windy today. Then again, there's a lot of wind coming off from the road here. We are on naked bikes, so no windshields, so any wind buffering you do obviously get when you're riding these type of bikes. You can see Catherine's jacket ruffling along, and that's hence where the name of the channel came from, the Naked Bikers. Two bikers riding naked bikes. Now this camera won't really pick it up very well, I don't think, but on the horizon there, that is the hills, Perth Hills, and as I mentioned, it's the whole ridge line, so all the way along there it elevates. Temperature wise, it's just lifted to 30 degrees, but a nice temperature for riding, not overly hot, actually quite comfortable. So we're getting quite buffeted by crosswinds here at the moment. The wind's even stronger now. Just look at those trees as we go by. It's a bit gusty today. So we're now heading into the Swan Valley wine region. Look at this old classic. So Swan Valley isn't as touristy as Margaret River is. Margaret River is more than just the wine region. It's on the coastline, so there's lots of caves and forests, and obviously the beach and you know, all what goes on with that. So it has a little bit more to offer, does Margaret River. Swan Valley, there's a little bit less. It's purely the wine region for sort of Perth. I think there is some holiday chalets here, but not as touristy for sure. Fire danger rating today high. And we are 3 weeks into autumn now. Luckily Perth didn't really have too many bushfires, thankfully. So as we ride along here, it's just normal landscape. Obviously over east in Australia they had horrendous bushfires. Famous red dirt of Western Australia. And for people who aren't familiar with Western Australia and what it contributes to the world, it exports massive amounts of iron ore, hence the red dirt, gold, diamond, gas and other elements like lithium. So lithium in the lithium batteries in iPhones and smartphones. So Western Australia will be increasing lithium exports to the world as well. And Western Australia is the richest, as in resources for mining, and elements like the ones I mentioned earlier, has most elements and those sort of resources than the rest of Australia. So it's a very rich state, and a considerable amount of years ago, actually Western Australia wanted to detach from the rest of Australia. They were debating whether to become their own nation within Australia as such, and wanted to branch away from the rest of the state. Obviously the rest of Australia, knowing how rich Western Australia is in resources, obviously kiboshed that idea. Taxation wise, the West Australian people actually pay more taxes and get less money back in taxes from governments than the rest of Australia as well. So for every dollar, say, a citizen pays in taxation here, I think we get something like about 23, 25, maybe even 30 cents now, cents back to the dollar. So a lot of our taxes actually pay for the rest of Australia. So what fire warning do we have here in Gidgigano? High again. Good to see there's a petrol station here. We may need to stop there on our way back. 2 petrol stations. So it's a small place, it's Gidgigano, a little town. So our destination is just near. And there's a tavern over there in the background, and that's where we just had lunch. And Catherine's saying in the background, doing some social distancing as well, 1.5 meters apart. So this here is where there's usually water running through here. This is Noble Falls, or lack of, and yeah, almost dry as a bone. But usually water at the top of the right hand side comes over, goes down this drop, and then continues on its way all the way through there. So that lady, that girl, wouldn't be able to walk there normally. Full of water, but not today. So some water, but stagnant. And yeah, usually rushing over here. So we're just having a little walk around this trail. We'll have a couple of minutes here or so. Big old tree, at some point's been heavily burnt. the flowing rapids of Noble Falls not. So there's a big car park here, and usually people come. Like I mentioned earlier, we actually are with the issues we've got with that COVID-19, social distancing, and less people going out. In WA we've had no official lockdown as yet, but with Western Australia being quite rural, we're a good hour outside of Perth now. Less chance of obviously contracting or spreading this virus. Quite a bit of debris down here as well, with the trees falling into the river. So what do you reckon that's down to?
Oh, erosion.
What about the actual bark itself, the internals of it?
Oh, it might have been a fire strike, lightning as well.
But it's not blackened by anything, is it? It's still its natural colour.
Not sure. Root rot.
It could be some sort of rotting, yeah. So it's very odd, is this? I've never seen this like this. You can see how the river flows through beyond that tree and down there. This is the walkway or the trackway here. And then usually down to the riverbed, the river, but we're going to the riverbed here. A party at the top of the waterfall. So yes, this is definitely a first. No water flowing over Noble Falls in the time I've come here anyhow. Catherine here, patiently waiting. All right.
Yeah.
Warm.
Well, yeah, in the sun it is.
So we're going to get off in a minute or two, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Back home, where it's a bit cooler and COVID-19 free. For now.
You hope.
We're going to be heading back now to Perth, back to Inaloo, and it's been a bit warm. Obviously no water flowing over Noble Falls. And what's your thoughts to it, Catherine?
No water over Noble Falls.
So no water over that's definitely the theme of the day, is no water over Noble Falls. So with that excitement, we're going to sign off and go home. Okay, so we'll catch you another time. Bye for now.